Good day to all you exiles out there. This is a shadowing series video. This is kind of video I tend to make about once a league where I showcase 1 hour of myself farming essentially my favorite farm of the league, or what predominantly got me the most currency in the league up to this point. You can see I've got a pretty looking picture here in the Divination tab. Usually this is featuring how I got my Headhunter in a couple or 2 or 3 weeks, but this league I took a odd turn and decided to farm a mirror first, and then suddenly realized I had enough for a Headhunter, and I'm just kind of all over the place. So I essentially farmed a mirror and a Headhunter at the exact same time, and in hindsight probably should have got the Headhunter first and then got the mirror second, but they pulled a fast one on us with the Headhunter nerf and then the buff and all that. So you see there's a couple of pretty items there I have that I didn't have a week ago. And in this video, we're going to get through 1 hour of farming on the cemetery, focused on the Brother Stash. Now, this may not seem like a big surprise to some of you. There's basically been 3 different strategies I've enjoyed this league. The one I'm going to show you is predominantly the one that has arguably made me the most currency per hour this league. I did try the sort of pure Sentinel and go on Glacier. I liked it. I moved it over to Dunes and liked it a little bit more. I also kind of created a sort of Legion on Legion, combining Sentinel, Legion rewards on Legions. Yes, I'm aware there was a major change with a recent patch on that. We'll get into that in this video, of course. But this is the sort of bread and butter strategy, and the one that is easily the safest. Probably the safest one and most lucrative one at the same time, but it's much more complex. It's not a very simple strategy like the Glacier strategy. There's a lot of cogs to this machine, and I'm going to showcase you how it goes. I'm not going to spend much time in the intro of this video. If you want to see the gear I have, I mean, obviously I'm scrolling through it for your convenience in case you're too lazy to check the POB, but the POB will be listed down below. Of course, I'm not going to talk about any specific gearing choices I made. I will talk a little bit about the build on at least map number 1, and the way I'm kind of going to format this video is I'm going to talk about a different theme in each map. We're doing 12 maps because it takes about 12 maps to do apparently 1 hour worth of farming. And of course, for fun, we're going to see how much currency per hour I farm up in that time. But you can see I'm kind of allowing you to take screenshots or do whatever you want to see. The Sentinel strat, the Atlas strat, it's all quick and easy. Nice to go. This video is dedicated to people who don't have a very good attention span, which I totally understand. Not the typical video I make, but here we go. We got a dump tab here. I got a few Sentinels. Each Sentinel in here is focused on having, I try to have a quantity roll, and then preferably, if I can, also have a decent roll like currency or divination card, the Harbinger rewards, or maybe Legion rewards if I can, because that makes a nice premium Sentinel for the strategy we're doing. All the chaos in here represent the additional costs that could not be calculated in the Excellence tab. We got 12 maps worth of Scarabs here, polished Scarabs, running Gloom Shrine elevated, running elevated Strongbox, surprisingly, running Enraged Strongbox, so a very Strongbox focused strategy. You can see Legion is a big part of the strategy. And every single map here is 8 mod corrupted and highly dangerous, in some cases running both different types of reflex, running crit, running fizz is extra damage, running reduced effect of non-curse auras, running reduced effect of curses, spell suppression reduction, beyond. I mean, every single... I don't even look at the mods anymore. That's one of the nice things about this build. I don't actually have to look at the mods here. But yeah, anyway, let's take you down to the Excellence tab so you can see. Make sure everything looks in order. Removing snapshot. This is a snapshot. It is approximately 3 exalts worth in here. I will then plug those numbers in here after the fact. So that is what it should be. Okay, so there it is, 3.11 exalts. Take one last snapshot, and next thing I'm going to do is remove all the chaos. And this should actually give us a pretty good picture of how much currency per hour this makes in 1 hour of farming. 12 maps would be right at around 1 hour. I've tested this a few different times. It's actually not really fast and definitely much slower than in previous leagues, and that's primarily because we've been slowed down compared to previous leagues, with Headhunter not being nearly as good as it used to be. So Soul Thirst is the build that I'm running right now. It's a Soul Thirst Tornado Shot Deadeye, sorry. And you can check out that build if you would like on a variety of different videos. I recommend the medium budget can pull this off. I don't think the low budget can pull this off, but a medium budget of up to around 20 exalts can pull this off pretty well, I think. So I recommend doing a medium budget if you can. At least, yes, I was running this strategy basically as you're going to see it. Of course, I was more squishy. Of course, I didn't do quite as much damage, but that is kind of how it went. So check out this video. The first thing I want you to see on map number 1, the focus or the theme of map number 1 is going to be on Soul Thirst. So I want you to pay close attention to what I do here. I got the flasks. I trigger 1 flask each. My longest lasting flasks last about 1 minute, slightly over. Okay, don't pay too much attention to the order I'm doing league mechanics. We'll talk about that stuff later. Really just check out the Soul Thirst up here, and you can see the Inspired Learning buffs are also on there as well. Soul Thirst counter is up over 200 already. Haven't even only used about a third of the flask so far. Okay, I got the Gloom Shrine here. Alright, going to the boss room. That was pretty damn easy there. And the boss still gets deleted with like 200 Soul Eater stacks anyway. Upwards of almost 300 Soul Eater stacks at this point. Definitely going to hit over 300 before it's over. The flask is getting kind of low. But yeah, we're definitely getting there. Gonna go pick up a few other shrines. I recognize the flask is finally running out, and boom, we're back down to 0, and we're just gonna use the flasks again. No problem. Okay, you can see the counter is already going up pretty high. Got a major acceleration speed shrine. That is definitely something I really want to see if I can get lucky enough to see that. Of course, I'm doing so many different shrines. It's pretty likely to happen. Okay, got a Legion going on here. Sentinel going off. Got a breach that already closed. Second Legion to do. Don't want to accidentally go in the Val side area. Okay, and you can see this map is already getting close to finish. I still got a little bit of Sentinel left to get on. Let's see if I can make it use the rest of its stuff there. Yeah. Okay. Got pretty good value out of that. You can see I got most of the Sentinel rewards there. You can see a lot of different drops here. I am actually going to try and kill everything, clear everything before I start looting. The Soul Eater stacks, I don't know, I can get up to around 600 potentially, depending on how I run the map. That's especially Strongbox is definitely such a wonderful league mechanic for Soul Eater stacks. The tricky thing with Soul Eater is that you actually have to be within a certain radius to acquire the buffs. And if you're opening Strongboxes, there will be like, you know, 50 to 100 monsters that spawn in your face. And that can actually really ramp up your Soul Eater stacks quickly, as opposed to just firing at things from long range, killing stuff off screen. You're not going to get those Soul Eater stacks that way. Soul Thirst as a belt, highly underrated. It doesn't make you any tankier. That's one reason why maybe it's a little bit shunned up against, because it is a kind of belt that is just pure offensive capability. Of course, it does dramatically improve your recovery if you have like life on hit, for example, but yeah, some people don't like having to orient their entire build around flask uptime, and you can see if you look at my POB, I have a lot of flask duration increase and whatnot. Okay, make sure these are alright. And we're done with map number 1. I had just enough space to loot everything. I am picking up flasks because I do have a flask buyer, and I reset my loot filters so that I'm not going to see these for any more maps. But I do want you all to know that aside from selling flasks to a designated flask buyer, this was all done 100% solo. I've not run any sort of groups. I didn't have a team. I'm not doing any kind of weird trading or whatever. I am using TFT occasionally or whatever, but no, it's pretty authentically a solo play, aside from flask sales. So here we got map number 2. You can see there, minus max all res is a dangerous mod, and this map we're going to focus on the strategy of what we're doing here. So the strategy, basically I'm going to talk about every single league mechanics in here. The strategy involves altars. So Eater of Worlds is what we're running. We're running Strongbox, we're running Shrines, we're running Legion obviously. Breach is a part of this, and there is a Divination Scarab involved. You probably are well aware about why that is. Why are we on the cemetery map? Well, because it drops your Brother Stash. So yeah, as a strategy, the primary farm here is Brother Stash. That's one thing I really love about this strategy is it's the now Sentinel is kind of weird in that you get a whole bunch of random stuff, but especially aside from Sentinel or before Sentinel, this strategy was really awesome in that the kind of currency you got was highly liquidable. In case it was just pure exalts. In many cases, you get a lot of exalts from this, from high quantity on the maps. And just, you know, Brother Stash card in general. Legion emblems dropping, quite liquidable in their own right. And it's just a strategy I really liked. There are many different things you can do with this. You don't have to run Legion. We'll talk about alternatives to the strategy before, but the bread and butter here is basically all about how do I increase my chance of getting Brother Stash to drop while still maintaining a relatively low amount of juice, so it's fairly inexpensive. Because that can be kind of hard to do. You know, how do you juice up a map hard enough so you can really call this a divination card farming strategy on which is generally a sort of high juicing strategy in and of its own right, and still, you know, get away with paying a premium for a polished Divination Scarab, which is worth, I mean, it's worth like 12 chaos a piece at this point. You can see I'm being a little tricky here. We got some changes to the Pandemonium Sentinel, but you know, people complain about it being really rippy here, right? But you know, when I have like 25 Headhunter buffs, I'm probably not going to die from even a bunch of Legion monsters around me. And I'm very much looking forward to putting a Headhunter on when I get to experience that. So I think the second map here is already basically done. Not too bad. My first Pandemonium Sentinel was not all that great, but I think the second one was pretty good. Still got good use out of the Stalker Sentinel, seeing a lot of random rewards. Haven't seen a full emblem drop yet, but it should be coming pretty shortly. You can see it's fairly safe. Another thing I haven't really talked about is leveling. So I'm level 99 right now, and it has been quite a chore to try and get up to 100, but I haven't really focused on trying to get 100, and I was running more dangerous strats, like the Legion on Legion strategy, using Wandering Path and stuff. This is not Wandering Path, this is just standard. This is not Wrath of the Cosmos, no Wrath of the Cosmos. I am running Dance of Destruction, and almost got myself killed. As usual, anytime you alt tab or whatever inside of a map, isn't there just always monsters lurking around randomly like that here. So there's a Legion boss there that I did mess that up, but it's not super important that I kill every single Legion boss, especially with this strategy. Legion is kind of a sort of on the side thing. It's not really the big part of the strategy. It would seem kind of strange to throw Legion onto the strategy. Legion's not really a major juicing strategy. So to combine that in an effort to get a Brother Stash drop seems a little bit unorthodox, but the fact of the matter is that Legion as a standalone does not interrupt your flow like some of the other more lucrative League mechanics, and it's one of the best League mechanics, I think, for combining ideas of not disrupting the flow, meaning you're still able to go fast, as well as just being highly lucrative in its own right. And naturally, it is one of the more challenging mechanics to do. It does require a fairly geared character, or, you know, 13 shrine effects can do it too, which is one of the main reasons why we're able to pull this strategy off even on a medium budget. So here we got map number 3. Map number 3 is going to be focused on the exact sequence of mechanics I'm doing in the map. So we're going to start in here. You notice I've been ignoring Strongboxes until I get deeper into the map. You can see that one of the first things I'm doing is I'm picking up shrines. I'm ignoring Breach, I'm ignoring Legion. Not doing them, I'm just focused on shrines primarily, as well as finding the boss. Now why do you think that is? You can probably figure it out pretty well on your own, because, you know, shrines offer a lot of defensive and offensive capabilities. It's a good idea to try and pick them up as quickly as you can, especially if you're in and out of the map, or if you can at least clear the entire map in a very short period of time. I might get a Covetous Shrine, which would ramp up the quantity, so why would I do other League mechanics so I can ramp up the quantity? At the same time, finding shrines, I'm also getting altars that may give me something like, I don't know, divination cards with a 30% chance to be duplicated, like that right there. So now every single Strongbox is still intact. If a Brother Stash comes out of a Strongbox, there's a 30% chance to be duplicated. Now I've basically gotten mostly all the altars that I'm going to see on this run, and so now it's time to start doing the actual League mechanics, including Breach, including Legion, including Strongboxes. I try to leave Strongboxes up around the Legion if I can. So here I'm hoping to open up that Legion without killing it all because of the new changes, but you can see I run back in here, boom, massive, I mean that's just a massive pandemonium hit, and what do you know, a Brother Stash dropped off a Legion monster there, presumably not from the pandemonium reward, that was just a straight up reward, presumably, so we got very lucky to see a Brother Stash on map number 3. We'll typically see about, now this is a little higher amount of juice than what I was running earlier this season, so I think it's fair to say probably see about 4 or 5 Brother Stashes in 100 maps. So I just found one on map number 3. So obviously there's some luck involved there. You see how I'm able to just run through this Legion, like just run in there and I take no damage. And the reason I'm taking no damage is I have like over 15 Headhunter buffs. And that generally with this many Headhunter buffs, with how Arch Nemesis, how strong it is defensively now, you probably have a handful of those are just making me damn near immortal. Again, that's going to be kind of the theme of the transition as my character moves into a Headhunter build. I'm basically just going to feel the glory of basically being unkillable. And finishing off this leveling up to 100 is going to be super, super easy compared to what it was before. I see there's a couple of you guys in chat. I'm going to try to address chat, but it's not really the focus. I'm going to make a very interactive video here. Let's see, we got thoughts of running Conqueror Cemetery maps. Somebody asked in chat if I'm running Conqueror Cemetery maps. I have not decided to run that. I wouldn't do that unless I was juicing up the maps a lot more because that's expensive and extremely tedious to collect Conqueror influence map. One major change from last league to this league is that you can have dual influences or even triple influences on a map. So I do see some major potential there. But again, if you're going to do that, you got to go all the way with it. You're going to go to massive levels of juice to try and run stuff that way. And honestly, guys, I mean, the game, especially with Sentinel, it was already feeling like last season. With the Atlas changes, really promoted the idea of less is more, like less juice, you get more out of less juice. And as far as currency per hour strategies are concerned, we definitely saw a trend downward in cost or investment and upward in speed. Now, speed has been kind of taken out of the equation a little bit. I don't know about this jewel here. Take a look at that later. Here, I guess the last thing I had to do is open a few Legion chests. Still no raw emblem drop, which is a little sad. I am picking up Sentinels as well, but most of the time they're not very good. I don't know if somebody wants this Sentinel, but considering it's got 3 fairly high tier rolls, I will go ahead and pick it up and maybe try to sell it for, I don't know, we'll say 22 chaos. It will not be counted toward the final tally. Incubator is also a big part of this strategy, and I like that. Incubator is definitely an underrated part of Legion's currency per hour. Okay, and we're getting into map number 4, so I gotta go in here and refresh some of the compasses. The Scarabs, get myself. I like doing this as a routine because that way I don't forget map number 4. We're going to be talking about altars in this one. So now I'm going to just get kind of meta in what I'm discussing here. I'm going to be focused on altars here. So altars got a major change this season. You know, on my reveal, or see, I accidentally hit that breach there. I didn't really want to hit it, but the breach is on the middle of nowhere in a corner, annoying. So it's not so bad that I hit this out of the way. But anyway, altars now have a chance to duplicate divination cards. Of course, that made me super excited when I saw it. And just a chance to drop raw divination cards. Just yesterday, I dropped the Fiend divination card drop. I'm not sure if it was from that altar or if it was from a Sentinel reward, but I think I did verify my Sentinels didn't automatically drop Divination cards as a part of their drops, so it probably did come from an altar. It's hard to recall, but anyway, yeah, we're focusing on altars here. I was kind of hoping this map would drop a lot of altars, so you can kind of see what some of them are. Scarabs, obviously less so. It seems like Scarabs are harder to get a handle on. There, a 6 links Astral Plate drop. That was from an incubator. Almost 100% sure that came from an incubator there. And this is also a Delirium map. Now, okay, so here we got final boss drops for Eldritch. This used to be really good, but now it's not actually all that good. The final boss, so I don't want gem duplicated or whatever. There's a lot of bad ones in here. It kind of got a lot of bad altars got selected here. But the one where the final boss drops Eldritch Currency is actually only all that good if you're running Wrath the Cosmos with it. Because if you're not running Wrath the Cosmos, then it's not going to be good. Now you can see the Gloom Shrine is tremendously good for Delirium. I do get a lot of Delirium because I have everything blocked except Delirium. Although the way I run the map, I probably should have ran this map a little differently and forced some more League mechanics to spawn, because now as a result the Delirium is already done and I could have gotten more juice out of that. But, at any rate, here you can see the altars. This map was definitely not an altar heavy map. Some maps will give me like upwards of like 10 altars. My favorite altar probably on this map is duplicated divination card chance. Obviously percent chance for Scarabs to drop is also going to be very, very good. So I'm looking to see that as well. Here we got a couple of Strongboxes next to the Legion. Watch what I do with this Pandemonium Sentinel when it unlocks. Okay, I kind of screwed that up and lost some of the monsters there. Actually, my Rampage kind of screwed me up over there as well. So I have a lot of backup plans with the Pandemonium Sentinel. I have Strongboxes as well as Legions, but I actually got foiled 2 separate ways where I accidentally triggered one more attack that killed a lot of the Legion as it came out, which it is much harder to do. Now, you can see I'm being very meticulous about how I attack. And the Rampage is kind of doing a number on me right now, forcing me to kill monsters that are near me when I don't want to, because I'm trying to get a juicy Pandemonium Sentinel. So occasionally Rampage can kind of work against you a little bit here, but it's definitely worth it because it's giving me... I have 50% increased movement speed right now in a league where movement speed has never been slower. This is extremely impactful. So I still have a lot of learning to do with Legion, with the new changes in Legion, and I did mention earlier in the video that you cannot easily synergize Pandemonium Sentinels with Legions anymore. I am dedicating a map to talking about Legion, and I'll talk more about that when we get to it. Here, but yeah, this one was all about altars. Divination card duplicate chance for divination cards to drop. I've seen nurse cards drop. I have not seen a doctor card, but I did see a fiend card. I've not seen an apothecary drop from that, but yeah, I've seen all kinds of sort of 1 to 2x cards drop from it. Very, very, very good, very lucrative overall. So a really good divination. Altar, I like both of them honestly, and the Eldritch Gaze is really good for this. I think altars are actually in a better place than they were last season as far as like target farming things with them. They get a little bit diluted from so many other good farming strategies that exist out there, but altars are still a big part of a strategy, and if you're not running tier 14 plus maps, you're definitely leaving a lot to be desired. I like the fact that GGG wants to promote the idea of running T14 or high red tier maps, you know, just in case. Wow, look at this. This altar, this astral plate happened to roll item level 85. It's worth at least 80 chaos, so I don't know if that's going to be counted in there. So sometimes when the 6-link incubator, Geomancer's incubator completes, you actually get a good base on there, and I did. I got a very good base. It's not the best, but it's one of the better ones for sure. So again, can't speak highly enough about incubators, and they're fairly low maintenance. I know people kind of don't like them, but if you only keep the good ones, then not so bad. As far as altars, last thing I'll say about altars, I mentioned before that I completely ignore the map mods, guess what? I completely ignore altar mods too. I don't have to look at it. This map is going to be all about shrines. So I got 3 shrines out the gate. What is the deal with shrines? Well, shrines is what enables this build, this strategy to be done on an only medium-ish budget character. So I don't know if you've ever gone through, but if you wear the Gull and you take all the shrine nodes on the Atlas, and then you will see that you have such an incredible amount of duration. I have over 2 minutes duration on each major shrine. And the effect is something like, I can't remember, I think it's 125% increased effect of shrines in total. Also running the elevated shrine sextant is a really big deal because you get even more increased time, which is like absolutely huge. So I did get a major acceleration speed shrine. I picked up all the shrines. So I'm running Domination, as I think you were able to see. Domination is 4 extra shrines. Oops, put this over here. Oh, good. Altars, of course, altars that drop or increase quantity. Stuff are super, super good. Okay, that was obviously juicy Pandemonium Sentinel. And yeah, so shrines, I get 4 from Domination. I get 1 automatically from the Atlas passives. I get 2 counting the Gloom Shrine, elevated Gloom Shrine. So I'm ended up with at least 7 shrines on every map. And then that's basically a Gloom Shrine plus 13 other random shrine effects because you get bonus extra shrines. I'm not up to that yet. Which is absolutely bananas. Okay, there's another excellent Pandemonium Sentinel. Slow me down a little bit because I have to worry about breaking the Legion out early. But anyway, you can see the power of shrines here. Acceleration speed shrine, super good. Echoing shrine is unbelievable. It at least doubles, more than doubles in damage. We got Divine Shrine, makes me immune to damage, which is just crazy, obviously. The Armor Shrine's good. The Massive Shrine, a lot of extra health. The Shrine that increases your critical strike chance by 100% means that I can, with 13 separate opportunities to get that shrine, it actually affects how you build your character, so that crit chance is actually less important than like crit multi, and you can kind of forego crit chance, power charges, things like that, because you can count on having the 100% crit chance about 50% of the time when you're mapping here. You did see a full emblem drop. That was a full Mercat emblem drop, so that is obviously a nice value, something like 80 to 100 chaos right there in the bank, and it certainly happens on occasion. It's taking me a little bit of extra time to loot here because I'm getting a little distracted with having to, you know, all the conversation topics. But fortunately, I'm actually kind of fortunate. There's a few little extra mechanics here. Oh wow, double exalted drop. Okay, that's another great reason to do Strongbox. I don't even really do Strongbox because of that right there, what you just saw. That's not even a big part of it. Strongbox is really just for the interaction with the Sextant, increasing chance for Brother Stash to drop. I'll talk more about Strongbox a little bit. We're already getting really nice good fortune out of this run so far. And then Brother Stash drop, double Exalted Orb drop. Exalted Orbs are actually pretty common, generally speaking, because this is just a lot of quantity on the map, a lot of different monsters on the map. So you're going to see a lot of Strongbox, or a lot of Exalted Orbs either way. Yeah, there's one thing I'm not too thrilled about having to mess with all these Sentinels. It can sometimes get a little overwhelming. This is a good Sentinel to keep, though, to try and combine in. It's 150% quantity. And I don't know, maybe that's a Tier 2 Harbinger. Tier 2 Harbinger is actually not too bad as well. So we'll keep those there. What is that? I guess that's actually a pretty good Sentinel to try and combine as well. Ooh, Beyond Boss came out of that. Good thing I had a bunch of Soul Eater stacks from the Strongbox. Initiated it. Okay, we're going to try and go here and pick up all the rest of the loot. I'm going to try to do this in one take, although I don't think I'm going to have enough space to handle this. Perfect fossil off an incubator there. This is apparently a Beyond map or something, because I keep seeing Beyond monsters drop. Okay. Spent a little bit more time in this map than I wanted to. Let's get in and out of here. Conquest Chainmail, I'm not sure if this is a good base or not. It's only item level 83. Now this is not. So this is really just a Divine Orb. It's listed at about 15 Chaos. But, you know, I'm walking out with a full inventory basically every time. Sentinels do not get calculated into the equation as far as excellence is concerned, so we don't have to worry about that messing with anything here. Okay, so anyway, recap, shrines. Amazing, can really help enable you to do a strategy like this, even if you're on a somewhat weak build, for a variety of different reasons. Okay, let's go with the next one is Strongbox. Okay, now we're going to talk about Strongbox. Quickly, before I do Strongbox, I'm going to talk about Delirium a little bit. Since the Delirium map spawn, go back in and clear some of the original area right here. Monsters spawn everywhere. When you do League Mechanics, it does pause the mirror, so you may actually want to do League Mechanics. I think Breach is not a bad idea to do. If you open Strongboxes, it extends the timer, so I am a little bit more lenient to get some of the League Mechanics out of the way on the front. Although Legion I don't really want to do. There we go, there's a Diamond Shrine that's 100% increased critical strike chance. I am going to change my tune here and start going for kind of all the shrines, go through the boss room. That boss was ghosted, by the way. Okay, I'm going to put the Sentinel down, Stalker Sentinel, just get it out. I mean, this is kind of deep in the Delirium. These monsters are very tanky. I do not have a Gloom Shrine on yet, but you can see I'm still able to handle this pretty easily. Gloom Shrine is on now, so it's going to be absolutely no problem. At this point, go in and clear the rest of that. It's basically flawless timing. There, I'm going to go make sure I get that last shrine. Okay. And we do have a major acceleration speed shrine, so that's always lovely to see. Found the edge of the mirror. I bet you it's going to unlock with... Oh, it took one last hit. Okay, so I messed that up. I cast ability one time too many there. That's alright. Let's see if I can get this right. Again, I don't have to use the Pandemonium Sentinels for the 2 Legions. There we go. Perfect timing there. I get the full Pandemonium Sentinel off of that. So, you know, it's a lot of finesse involved to really get that timing right. Okay, look at this. I mean, this is obviously an excellent place to put a Pandemonium Sentinel right there with between 3 Strongboxes. So you can definitely use Strongboxes for your Pandemonium Sentinels and not feel too bad about it. Legion also you can do. So, I mean, even with, Breach you can also do. So even with Legion being so much harder to manage now than it used to be with Pandemonium Sentinels. I mean, you still got Strongboxes to back up. I recommend keeping a few Strongboxes intact and trying to do it on the Legion. But if you fail on the Legion, you can use Strongboxes to back up. Legion is definitely better though overall because you get a whole bunch of extra drops because it's being empowered on a bunch of rare monsters. It's just a lot of extra rare drops there. You can see it cleared that entire run with incredible ease. I mean, between the Gloom Shrine and the Acceleration Speed Shrine, it's just a total breeze. I'm going to go ahead and end this Delirium on purpose here. It's basically done. There might be another Strongbox somewhere. Now, because of how I'm clearing the maps, I do sometimes occasionally miss a Strongbox. I used to clear Strongboxes as I ran into them and basically use the Fog of War as my guide. For that, get the reopen Strongboxes sometimes. Just get, I mean, this is an Arcana Strongbox. Give tons of loot. No double Exalted Orb, of course, but you know. Divination Strongboxes are really good. I mean, I just got double Nurse cards yesterday as well from a Diviner Strongbox. I think that was actually the first time I saw double Exalted Orbs this season, so I'm a little bit unlucky having only just now seen that. It's probably not the first time, but definitely haven't seen it in a very long time. Get tons of full emblems here. Kind of how I conclude the map usually. With the Legion chest opening. Oh, another full emblem there on the right. Kind of nutty. Okay, so that's that map is probably done. You know, there's a because I'm running through the map multiple times, there's a chance I miss a Strongbox or I might miss some loot, but I'm not going to miss anything crazy. And I don't want to be spending too much time in the map because arguably my biggest secret to making 10 to 15 or more X an hour has really very little to do with how much I'm juicing or what strategy I'm doing. It just has a lot more to do with just how incredibly efficient, how fast in and out of the map, each map I am. Whether it's Glacier, super simple farming, or Dunes, or even if it's Cemetery or Crimson Temple, just trying to get in and out of the map as quickly as I can. Here we go. This map is going to be talking about Breach, so this is probably going to be the least this map or this topic I'm going to have the least amount to say, probably, because Breach is all about one thing. It's all about juice, and it's all about Flash Breach on the Atlas passive. It's the only thing I care about. You know, I used to like farming Chayula breaches, but for some reason Chayula breaches are just not worth anything. As far as like breach stones, worth so little. I mean, they cannot even hold a candle to legions. As far as like targeting legions versus targeting breaches, but breach definitely does outperform legion. From a juicing perspective, way more monsters. I know there's way fewer rare monsters involved, but I mean, just the sheer total number of monsters is so much higher that it overrides the fact that it doesn't have all that many rare monsters involved. You see, even like Delirium bosses deep in the fog still just get absolutely shellacked. Gotta be at least another shrine or two. Okay, I think maybe one more. Oh, an altar I almost missed. Okay, that's Scarab chance. I probably should have done 30% duplicated Divination card, but I like Scarab chance too. Alright, so let's see if we can get this Legion done proper. I'm afraid to cast anything else. Oh, it's the boss up here, that's why. Okay, I actually mistimed that Pandemonium Sentinel. I thought it was about to open, but I mistimed it. So, I don't know if you can do the replay there. You can see I actually totally missed it, the Pandemonium Sentinel, and got basically no value out of it. But I'm gonna get some value out of that one. And again, you see monsters, I mean, the place is just crawling with monsters. You would think that I would just get absolutely destroyed right there while I'm just casually standing around. I'm running Windward too, which means like if I'm not casting or not doing anything, I'm extra squishy. But I mean, again, the amount of inspired learning buffs, what that does to the defensive character. I mean, if you're running a build and you're not running Headhunter or inspired learning in a mapping character, I gotta say, you're doing it wrong, because it just provides so much defenses that you can, I mean, you can cut a whole lot of corners in your strategy or in your gearing process or whatever. I'll do that. What do we have here? This is, oh, okay, so that must be like an item level 84. Nope, it's just item level 75. Alright, so that's a high value large cluster. The large cluster will not be counted towards the tally in terms of currency per hour on the strategy. Excellence cannot see large clusters, but that large cluster is probably worth about 20k else or more. Okay, I am going a little bit out of sequence here by picking up a bunch of stuff before finishing clearing everything. I probably shouldn't be doing that. I should actually be going around, because now my character is kind of weak. I got no Soul Eater buffs. Or did I actually clear everything? Ah, this guy is Strongbox down here. Oh, almost died. I may still almost die. The Beyond bosses can be quite dangerous. Yeah, we'll talk about Beyond in a little bit here. So this map was all about Breach, and I just talked about it for a few seconds. I do like Breach because you can trigger it. Unlike Abyss, for example, you trigger a Breach, you can run around, do other things, come back and clear it in the last second, and it's fun to get really good at that timing. I do appreciate the challenge of that as a league mechanic. Opening a breach, running around, and coming back later, and then getting all that credit, and getting just massive amount of Beyond synergies from that as well. Between Flash, like an entirely opened Flash breach is an insane number of monsters in a tight area that it invariably spawns multiple Beyond bosses and just all kinds of Beyond monsters as well. So that I'll quickly see how much this cluster is worth, just for reference. Yeah, it's a 20 chaos cluster. Not a bad map. A lot of maps here. The map sustain is incredibly easy. In fact, I think I should probably be putting more premium maps on my list. Okay, Glacier seems to be selling a lot because it's one of those maps that everybody wants to run, but it cannot self-sustain it. I do have Dunes on here because I like that strategy as well. But the only maps I'm really running this season are Dunes, Cemetery, and Crimson Temple. And I'm not featuring Crimson Temple. I mean, it's pretty obvious why I would run Crimson Temple, but I'm not featuring it in this thing because I didn't run it very much. And it's very much a sort of hit and miss strategy anyway. Okay, moving on. We got okay, we're on map number 9 or 8. Sorry, map number 8, and this one's going to be all about Legion. So I'm finally going to talk about in detail about some of the changes here. So Grimrow came out with a strategy somewhat recently, or towards the beginning of the season rather, and it was all about. Oh my God, I had more than a 50% chance to duplicate Divination cards now. Right at the beginning of the map. That's exciting. And he was talking about the Pandemonium Sentinel, how amazing it is for juicing, and it's incredibly safe because you can open the Legion in stasis and then trigger everything so super reliably, get great value out of it. You typically won't get like all 100 monsters usage out of an Obsidian Pandemonium Sentinel. You're not going to get 100 monsters out of it usually, but Jesus Christ, got like 80% chance. If a Brother Stash drops, it has a very high chance of being duplicated on this map. Yeah, I just keep getting distracted. So this is the map that I wish I was talking about altars because I just keep getting altars everywhere. But yeah, okay, so this map, I think actually, yeah, 3 Legions spawn on this map. So I am blocking a lot of things. The Legions I'm not blocking, so occasionally I will get 3 different Legions to be on the map at once. And actually it has a decent chance of happening. I want to get a few more Soul Eater buffs here before we start this. Looking for a Strongbox somewhere around, maybe. No? Okay, I want to check to see if there's a boss here. There's not. Okay, I did get fortunate with the opening that Legion. I didn't accidentally kill anything. Again, I'm privileged, unlike a lot of characters who are running like ground effects, AoEs, and things like that, or auto bombers. They cannot reliably do what I'm doing here, where I open the Legion delicately. Okay, screwed that one up a little bit here. I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and combine the last Pandemonium Sentinel with... good enough. Yeah, that's not too bad. That didn't go as well as I hoped. So I thought I was going to get half of one Legion and maybe the other half of another Legion in a Pandemonium Sentinel, but didn't quite work out that well. But at least you got to see me very, very successfully get a Pandemonium Sentinel on one of them. And so I know a lot of people are going to be very turned off by the changes now that we can no longer use the Legion in conjunction with Pandemonium Sentinel in stasis and very conveniently, safely, and easily juice up your Sentinel reward Pandemonium via Legion. A lot of people are upset with that. I think they have very good reason to be upset with that. The timing of this change is just absolutely atrocious. I honestly don't even mind the change, and I try to think, in an alternate universe somewhere, using a Pandemonium Sentinel and Stasis Legion monsters never worked, and it was never meant to be intended to be designed that way. And honestly, I suspect if we were to ask the developers of GGG, what was that an intended function of the Pandemonium Sentinel to work that way, they would say no, because I think they want the Pandemonium Sentinel to be a very dangerous Sentinel to use in respect to like map juicing. It is the mapper's Sentinel, but it is meant to be. You are meant to put yourself in grave danger in order to use it, and Legion Stasis definitely circumvented that design intention, I would say. I'm kind of speaking for GGG here when I say that, but I'm pretty confident that what I'm saying would probably hold true if you were to ask them, especially given the fact that they changed it. But the fact that they changed it this late in the season, I mean, they changed it after the first month of the league, and I don't really understand why they would make that change now. They should have just waited for the next season if they go, or the next league if they go core, which they may very well go core, because why would they have changed it at this point in the league? Why couldn't they just let it go? But of course, you know, I sympathize with the people who are upset with the change. If I was running some sort of character that cannot stop its damage on a dime, I would be upset about the change. About the timing of it anyway, and I'm a little bit unhappy with the timing of it in general. I mean, I just made this Legion on Legion strategy, and now that strategy, while still doable, basically became 4 times harder to pull off. I would still probably do it, and I plan to get really good at it. I actually think it's not terribly difficult to pull off if you are not running Gloom Shrine, but with the Gloom Shrine, it's really hard, because if I fire an arrow, 1 arrow too many, I mean, it's just going to blow up an entire screen of monsters and then some. So I may try to work around not using a Gloom Shrine to mess with that. But anyway, moving on. This time, this map, we're going to talk about Beyond. So Beyond is a big part of the game. Last league, it was a huge part of the game because it was on the Curate crafting bench. However, this season it is not. So I think the major juicing strategy will be the Deli Mirror. The Deli Mirror will probably be the go-to, but in the case that I have a somewhat weaker character for whatever reason, or I don't have a Headhunter yet, I think the best thing to do is to go the Gull and to use the shrines like you're seeing right here. Definitely good value. And by the way, there's a lot of monsters that spawn on 4 separate shrines if you go all the shrine nodes too. So I mean, you are getting actually a lot of juice out of that too, but nowhere near what you get out of a Deli Mirror. And if you're focused on juicing the map up for Divination card farming or what have you, certainly I think the Delirium Mirror is probably a better bet, even at a cost of 10 extra chaos per map. Comparatively, it's probably most certainly worth it. And I would probably be using it honestly or when I start using the Headhunter. I'll definitely almost certainly stop using the shrine maybe, although I will miss somewhat, not very reliably, getting my hands on a acceleration speed shrine, you know, because I can fairly reliably get that shrine. Still failed. I tried so hard to open that Legion, still couldn't do it. Delicately, that is. Alright, let's try on this other one here. So Beyond, yeah, I should probably talk more about Beyond. So Beyond is, it's just the juicer strategy. I mean, there's no better strategy to do than run Beyond if you can in any way. But there's a terrible price to be paid in that you would have to roll your maps with Beyond on them, which means you cannot reliably get 8-mod corrupted map value. You cannot get all that extra quantity and pack size. It also means that you have to actually take time to roll the maps, spend currency to roll the maps. That is also a major hit on there. So I don't really like that, and to me, I've sort of made a decision that a lot of players do not make. And I've decided I would rather have the convenience of 8-mod corrupted maps via the 8-mod corrupted Sextant, or just rolling them more easily that way, versus forcing Beyond onto the map and then kind of having to make decision, do I want to have a unique monsters drop corrupted items for the Divine Sextant? I feel like that's not actually all that valuable when it comes to juicing the map, because those two ideas go very much against each other. If you have the unique monsters drop corrupted items, then you are definitely sacrificing a Sextant that would have otherwise juiced up your map more, put more monsters on the map, and so you're actually missing out in a sense. So there's definitely a sort of tug-of-war going on with that about what the best strategy is to do in terms of Beyond. But I have gone some points in Beyond, and I didn't actually go down all the way to the bottom left as much as I would like to get those nodes. I definitely had, you know, in terms of the Atlas passives, I feel like they're very well balanced. You know, it was kind of a hard decision. How many points in Beyond do I want to invest? It's just a guaranteed 3%, because I do have 3% on every map. Occasionally I'll run maps that have the 13% roll, so I do feel like it's a good idea to have Beyond on there. Of course, it's incredible for inspired learning, Headhunter buffs and stuff. But at the end of the day, Beyond is kind of taking a little bit of a back seat this season. It's just sort of there, and if I can get it, if I have it, great. If not, then I'm not terribly worried about it. Again, I've made the decision that I like to have or I would prefer to have the more reliable amount of quantity, rarity, and pack size on the map with all the other things, because I mean that's what's really juicing up the Strongbox, and especially, and that's just creating a lot of extra currency per hour by having all those extra monsters and pack size. But it's a give and take, and you can make your decision based on how you like. I also don't really like delirium orb farming, so like 80-100% delirious farming is not really my thing. So that is another, if you're going to do that, then certainly you want to have beyond rolled 6 modded maps, but I mean that's such a headache to roll those maps and to get all that on there. As far as like running triple influence maps, that would probably be the way to go though. Like if I was running a like an Elder, Conqueror, Eldritch influence map and trying to do massive levels of juice, then yeah, sure, you know, put 5 Scarab deliriums on there, and then run your beyond map or whatever. But that's not really my cup of tea. I'm just rather just quick and easy, in and out. That whole thing. All right, next we're going to talk about Sentinel. Okay, so right, we got 3 maps left. This map we're going to talk about Sentinel. So Sentinel, you saw me just replace a Sentinel here. I have a quantity and currency reward on this one. I have a Scarab and quantity reward on the other. As I mentioned earlier, I care very much about quantity when I'm doing this farm, but I also would like to have at least one decent value roll on there. Sentinel, this is a brand new league, brand new mechanic. It's kind of hard to quantify how much these are worth. I paid as much as like 1 exalt for a Sentinel if I felt like it was ultra premium. I can get a lot of Sentinels, good Sentinels I think, for cheap, which feels like I'm kind of stealing from the from the seller in some cases, but again, it's kind of a new league. It's hard to price these things. People don't really know what they're worth, and usually they're worth a lot more than what people are trying to sell them for. But you can self-sustain them reasonably well. I definitely like the cores and the sort of recombinating of Sentinels. Recombinators are obviously a big part of this league too, but that's more crafting focus. I'm not going to be talking about crafting in this video, because I got no time for that. But you haven't really seen me operate Sentinels the most optimal way. I think the best way to do it, for me, the way I'm running this map, is when I get to the boss room, which is now. I pop the Stalker Sentinel. I will definitely get a Stalker influence boss here with high Soul Eater stacks. I think he's also ghosted, maybe, with 100% delirium. And he still died really quickly. People complain about the Stalker Sentinel and that it doesn't shoot fast enough or whatever. You know what the solution to that is? Have a little bit of patience. But again, if you're running a build that you're not able to turn your damage off, it's a little bit of a problem. I admit it. Yeah, a little bit of a problem. So I guess this league is a good league for builds that are able to switch on or off their DPS on a dime. Alright, let's see that. How about that? That's a good Pandemonium Sentinel hit. If you're not able to switch on or off your DPS, well, I guess, you know, it's just not a good league for that. You know, some leagues are better than others for certain things. This league is really good for builds that can turn on and off their damage at the snap of a finger, which I'm very fortunate this build can do that. Here we go. This is a little bit risky here. Really? Okay, I need to go back and try and do that breach, but I'm running very slowly here because I got temporal chains. I think I missed that breach completely on the left, but at the very least I'm going to get this Pandemonium Sentinel off in a good light. I may die, actually, in the process. Okay, well, we got it. Alright, so, you know, this may be the way to do this strategy, actually. You open a Legion, you basically kill everything except maybe a couple monsters are alive, and then you just run off, come back later, and just slam the Pandemonium Sentinel in after it is opened, and you're at no more risk of killing the monsters accidentally. There.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Yeah, so the Stalker Sentinel I think is easy to use. If you're having issues with it not getting its cast off, you just need to be patient. I can open a Strongbox and then just kind of run circles around it, and it will use all of its charges. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. I can, with the Pandemonium Sentinel, obviously it used to be exceptionally easy with the Legion. Now it's not. We've already talked about that. We don't need to really talk about it anymore. Pandemonium Sentinel can be used on a wide variety of different things. Obviously it's really good for that Glacier strategy. It's great. It's great for Strongbox. It's good for Legion. It could be really good for Breach. Honestly, Breach might be one of the easiest ways to do it now, because you just open the Breach, run away, come back, and holy crap! I mean, you're definitely going to get all the monsters you could possibly get if you try to Pandemonium infuse a Breach as you come back before you killed any of the monsters. And even aside from actual auto bombers, even like characters that just do AoE ground effect damage would still be able to do that and pull that off, I think. So I love Sentinel. The rewards are really cool. It's kind of out there. It's definitely good. I hope it's I hope it goes core. It's a terrific way to increase the risk and reward of what you're doing. It really does make the monsters a lot tankier and harder damage, and I've definitely ripped a few deaths because of Sentinel, badly timed Sentinels, or just Sentinel infused some already super dangerous monster. That certainly does happen a lot. Alright, so we're getting on the last couple maps here. This map I'm going to talk about sort of alternative farming strategies to what we're doing here. So again, this is about shrines, where we got altars, we got Eldritch Influence, altars, Eater of Worlds, we got Strongbox, shrines, we got Beyond, we got Delirium mirrors periodically, we got Sentinel, we got Legion, we got Breach. That's a lot of stuff. And yet, if you actually check my Atlas passive, I blocked everything except 3 things. So, surprisingly high number of mechanics involved. Again, it's not a very simple strategy. It's definitely complexity. Not everything synergizes super well with itself, but I definitely think it's a very good strategy. It's the one I want. If you were to substitute anything out for the strategy and keeping intact the idea of farming brother stashes, so you kind of still aiming for divination card farming, juicing up maps in general. The first thing I would probably substitute out is Legion. I would probably get rid of Legion because it's not really helping a huge amount for the sake of getting brother stashes, though I think the one brother stash I found actually was from a Legion monster. Legion monsters do have amplified quantity because a lot of rares are involved in that. But it's not nearly as juicy as Breach or Strongbox, especially with the Sextants, or even Shrines for that matter, probably. I'd say that is an absolute S tier Pandemonium Sentinel hit there. Yep, this feels good to time it well. You know, in a way, I kind of enjoy that extra challenge. So if you substitute out Legion, I would probably go for Abyss, because Abyss is kind of like the really, really good option for that. Yeah, Abyss is just terrific for juicing. The problem with Abyss, the reason I don't like it is because you have to babysit it a whole bunch, and I really hate babysitting that thing. Waiting for it to, unlike Breach, you can't just like open it and then come back later and then it's done. No, you have to like open it, babysit it to the spot, maybe come back a little later, then do that process 3 or 4 more times until it's finally done, and it just really, really slows me down. But it does spawn a huge number of monsters, it's incredibly cheap, and I definitely think Abyss would be the first thing I might substitute, or alternative strategy to this is substitute out Legion for Abyss. One of the big issues with Abyss, though, is in its own right, it does not give really any currency aside from juicing up the map, you know, just raw drops from it. The Abyss mechanic itself, nobody's going into the abyssal depths and do stuff like that for extra currency. That is an absolute terrible idea and not worth it. Like after day 1, it's basically no longer worth it. Let's see, other possible strategies here. What else do we have here? We could, yeah, there's just not really much else. You can put Blight. You can definitely, you have to get the passive point for it, but you can definitely run a Blight Scarab and do that. Of course, Blight is really tricky this season, and I think a lot of people are turned off from Blight and how it interacts with the Arch Nemesis monsters for a variety of reasons. So I'm not really into Blight, and Blight also pretty garbage drops unless you're actually farming it with almost all of its relative Atlas passive points. Blight's not too good there. So alternatives may basically sub out Legion, put in Abyss. You could sub out Strongbox. You could obviously sub out Shrines as well. Like I could sub out Shrines and put more. I could put like more Abyss in. But I don't really have a Scarab slot for it. is the problem. You know, it's not like there's a Shrine Scarab here, so that wouldn't be all that good. I do have a Sextant slot for it, so, and the Abyss Sextant is super cheap. But honestly, I think all the Shrines is putting more juice on the map than one Abyss would. So we're getting to the final map here. Final map, basically, it's going to be Final Thoughts and strategy. So this is the final map. After this map, we'll check the currency per hour. I hope you're enjoying the video, and yeah, Final Thoughts, basically just trying to think of anything that I hadn't already said. Hopefully something will come to me, because I feel like I've basically said almost everything I would care to say on this. I mentioned there's 3 different strategies I did this season. I think this is the overall best one, most lucrative strategy that I'm doing this season, and it's also simultaneously the friendliest strategy as far as, like, you know, if you don't have a really uber geared character and can handle it. Yeah, even the Glacier Sentinel Go strategy definitely requires character to be pretty strong, well geared. And of course I am doing Sentinel on this strategy, but when I have such an immense amount of Shrine power on top of what I'm doing here, it just makes my character so much stronger that kind of nullifies the challenge a little bit. So that is kind of the big secret to this season, with Arch Nemesis being the big challenge this league, and Sentinel in combination with it. The answer to that is shrines. More shrines, more shrines, more shrines. If you get like almost all the shrine effects, I mean, I have an invulnerability shrine on right now. I literally can't die, which means I can be super carefree with this Pandemonium Sentinel. Watch all this. I mean, I get to do all of this right here. How about this Pandemonium Sentinel? Oh, great. My Rampage just like foiled me again. I still actually got pretty good value out of that, ironically. There's so many monsters there. So I almost had the most uber Pandemonium Sentinel ever. I'll try it again. But you could see right there, like, if Rampage in combination with the Gloom Shrine just kind of wrecked me a little bit there. That looks like a good Pandemonium Sentinel too. Okay, there you go. I don't think I'm immune to damage anymore. I think I almost probably died there from the timing. So that's fun. Like the last one, you can see when you run shrines, you get extra opportunities to get an easy access, ultra juicy Pandemonium. Sometimes you're gonna get invulnerability shrine. That's always fun, you know, to be able to set up for the absolute most monstrous Pandemonium Sentinel hit you've ever seen, which I kind of failed to do there, but almost did it, as you can see. Right there. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, you can stick around for a little more. The farming session is basically done. You can stick around to see how much currency per hour is made. You can follow the timestamps, obviously. You can make comments down below if you want to, have any questions. There was a whole bunch of things I didn't address in this video, even still. Almost died again. So close to dying. Somehow I did not die at all, and I actually made good progress. Got over 2 bars of experience, but you can see how hard it has been. You can also see that I'm most likely to die after the map has basically been cleared, and I no longer have Headhunter buffs. I no longer have all that extra damage. And I'm sitting here identifying Sentinels in the middle of the map, which is really dangerous, but I'm doing it anyway because I'm lazy. Alright, so a little bit more. Oh, well, hey. Raw Exalted Orbs often do drop from Legion chests. That wasn't even a currency reward Legion chest. Still dropped from it, which is wild. It happens all the time. Another big reason why I like Legion, because the Legion rewards are actually insane. You get raw emblems, you get Exalted Orbs from the chests themselves, like all the time. You get other rewards from the chests themselves. You also get a fairly decent amount of juice. You get a whole bunch of Headhunter buffs to make the rest of the map at certain intervals can be a lot easier. You get 6-link unique armors, like this Chevrons here could come out 6. I'm seeing a 6-link Chevrons drop, which is a huge value as well, although that's pretty rare. You get incubators, which are a huge value too. And Yeah, I mean, Legion, also, the emblems pricing is not accurate in the game. I mentioned this in a previous video, but they all go for about 1 exalt a set, which is way more than the default value. Which is kind of crazy, just how lucrative Legion is. And even still, I suspect Expedition is probably better. I didn't mention Expedition as an alternative, but I mean, it could be used as an alternative to something else. Okay, so this is basically done here. We got the session is finished. We will go down the screen. Let's see, what time did I start this farm? Oh, okay, like it's been exactly like 61 minutes since I started this. If you see it on the bottom right-hand side, it looks like I made almost 12x an hour. That may or may not be exactly accurate. Sometimes that's a little bit misleading. It's actually definitely not accurate because I didn't get the final snapshot in. Now it says 13.65x an hour. But there is a brother stash in 12 maps. There's 3 exalts in 12 maps. It's actually pretty good. But again, there's just a whole bunch of extra currency and stuff from Sentinel. I am including Beyond on this strategy. There is a Screaming Invitation in there, which wouldn't necessarily be in there in just 12 maps. But I would also be including like an extra couple exalts from leveling gems, because I'm leveling gems at the same time. Here I'm just leveling regular enhanced support gems, but leveling up an awaken enhanced support is like worth 1 or 2 exalts, especially if you corrupt it up into a rank level 5. You can also get a lot of breach rings. We can see here that a ton of breach rings drop, so these will amount to grasping males in full up to a certain point. But yeah, it's anyway, we see 17.09 there. Okay, so gross is 17.09, and it is counting most everything that dropped in there, including some of the maps. But we definitely got a calculator out, and we're going to take 17.09 minus 3.11, and this is the net currency I made basically in 1 hour, 13.98. Yeah, and so that was like basically exactly 1 hour, so there it is, 13.98, 14x in 1 hour. I just did a test run of like 32 maps a while ago. I made 15x in that hour. That was with a Fiend drop and 1 Brother Stash drop as well. But again, so much stuff drops from the strategy. Brother Stashes get somewhat reliable in terms of drops when you're juicing up maps this hard. But there it is. You can see that was this particular hour. I definitely made like 14 exalts in this hour. If the Brother Stash did not drop, well, I would have still made 9x in this hour. So that's still a pretty good strategy. So, I mean, you're still looking at sort of like, as far as when I'm running this strategy, it's still like bare minimum 7 or 8 exalts in 1 hour, like bare minimum. But then it's generally, on average, going to be something like 12 to 13, upward of 15x an hour. It's basically a 10 to 15x an hour strategy. For me at this point with my speed. Speed is kind of the biggest challenge of this league, so I'm going to be putting on the Headhunter and our trusty mirror here. Obviously, that's the next thing I got to do. I'm going to be coming out with a video kind of showcasing my first month experience. I'm getting a little bit behind on that, but I want to actually showcase me running a Headhunter for the first time this season as I do that video. But we'll put these things away for now, and I'm going to close out the video. Basically, final thoughts already done, out of the way. Hope you enjoyed this shadowing series. Again, if you want to see me do any other very specific strategies, just let me know. I'm planning to actually do this again, this sort of video again for the Legion on Legion strategy, especially as I try to navigate, figure out how to mess with the new changes with Legion, Sentinel, Stasis monsters, and all that stuff. Yeah, but yeah, that's it for now. It's been fun. I'm very much looking forward to getting that mirrored bow, which you will see in the next video for sure, and running the Headhunter and seeing just how unbelievably tanky I become without really losing any damage whatsoever. Alright, so I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.